Hey everyone, welcome to Plant-Based Cooking with John, your go-to channel for delicious plant-based recipes that won't break the bank. Whether you're a seasoned cook or just starting out, you'll find easy to follow recipes that use simple ingredients and basic kitchen equipment. On today's episode, we're going to be making egg salad. Now this is a plant-based cooking show, so it's not going to be actually egg, but this recipe that has been used time and time again in the past, I'm going to show you how to be making that the same kind of texture, the same kind of flavor you love egg salad for, but with chickpeas. So let's check it out. To start things off, let's now talk about the ingredients we're going to be using. So first and foremost, the main ingredient in this will be garbanzo beans or chickpeas. I got the organic one. You don't need to, it's just your preference. And you're going to want 2 cans of the garbanzo beans, and these are both 15-ounce cans. So we're going to be cooking with those first. The other ingredient you're going to need is a plant-based mayo of some kind. Now I'm using this Plant-Based Foods. You can pick this up at most supermarkets, I believe. Just look in your plant-based section for that. We're going to use 2 veggies. First, we're going to use celery. Okay, that's going to give the egg salad sandwich a crunch. And that's kind of an important ingredient, I feel. That's something you can't really leave out of an egg salad sandwich, or egg salad. I'm going to be preparing a sandwich, but don't leave this out. And then you also want to use an onion. I like red onions just because they're bold in flavor, and they look really nice in any kind of dish. They don't just blend in like a typical yellow onion, but yellow onion is also fine. And then the rest of the ingredients we're going to be using is just going to be different seasonings, okay? So first you got your salt and pepper. Don't forget that. That's going to be almost essential in anything you make. So we're going to be using salt and pepper. The other item we're going to be using is some kind of herb. So Italian seasoning is fine, herbs de Provence, any other kind of herb, basil, things like that, that's fine too. We're also going to be using garlic powder and onion powder. Okay, that's going to give the flavor we need. And then paprika we'll be using. This can be optional, but I feel like with egg dishes you think of like a paprika or a cayenne that you use to kind of give it. If you think of like deviled eggs, you have that little sprinkle on the top. So this is good for the eggs. Now these next 2 ingredients I would highly recommend for this recipe, but they're completely optional. One of them is going to be turmeric. Now turmeric, it does have good properties. I think it supports good brain health, your immune system. So it's a good ingredient to do, but what we're really going to be using it for is the color. Now chickpeas themselves, they have the kind of yellowish tint like an egg would, but this will kind of punch it up a little bit and make it bright and satisfying, because you always eat with your eyes first, okay? And then this last ingredient, this is optional too, but this is the one that will bring up your egg salad from like a 7 to a 10, okay? And this is an unusual one. This is called India Black Colonomic. Okay, I'm going to show you a little closer here. Now, this is harder to find in stores. You might be able to find it in like a Whole Foods. I ended up just ordering this off of Amazon, and it's I believe it's under $10. I haven't bought it in a while. It goes a long way, but oh my gosh, this ingredient, perfect for plant-based cooking, because it really does smell and taste like egg. So like you can have everything you want without the cholesterol of an egg, and you can still get that really good flavor. And I'll be using this in future recipes too, when you look at more breakfast type dishes like tofu scramble and maybe like even a cooked egg of some kind. I'll be using this, so this is a really good one, guys. I would highly recommend this seasoning if you can find it. For review, I'm now going to list all the ingredients we just discussed on the screen. feel free to pause the video to write the ingredients down or gather them up, or if you prefer, feel free to follow along with me. And let's dive in. All right, it's time to start off with a little prep work. So as we discussed, there's only 2 veggies you need in this particular recipe. So we're going to use celery, and we're going to use the red onion. Now for the celery, I would say about anywhere from 2 to 4 stalks of celery, depending on how crunchy you want it. I'm a big celery fan. In fact, I have this is the last of my bag, so these are smaller pieces. I'm just going to use the rest of it so it doesn't go to waste. And so you'll just want to cut into your celery. Now I always rinse the celery after I cut it, just because I'm going to be cutting off the ends and the tips, and I just don't think it's really necessary at the beginning. So I'm just going to take off these like leafier parts right here, and then usually if the air hits the celery, they do get a little brown, so I'm just going to cut off those pieces as well. And so now I have the celery I'm going to be using. So in this case, this is 5, but they are smaller pieces, you know, unless you get like a new pack, and then that's going to be a little larger, where you can use maybe 2 to 4 stalks, as I mentioned before, just depending on how crunchy you want it. Okay, and now we're just going to simply cut the celery, and I would say just like a 1/2 inch pieces. Now some people do want to dice the celery. I like to see the celery in the actual egg salad, and I keep them whole. So you know, we're looking at pieces like this big. I don't mind that. I think it's really good that way. So we're just gonna cut those pieces. Alright, my celery's cut, and now I'm also going to use half of this onion, okay? So just cut it. Now this one's a little larger. Usually onions, I mean, they vary in size, but this one is just a little bigger, but that's alright. I'm just cutting the end piece. I cut it in half, and I just cut the end piece off of this onion, and then I just take off this first layer. And now you have your onion, and you know, of course, as usual, exercise safety when you're cutting the onion. I am not a seasoned chef, okay, so I'm sure that people will say that I'm cutting this wrong. I do it a certain way. Just the main goal, the main result you want is just it to be diced. So you're just going to want to make sure that you have smaller pieces. Unlike the celery, it's good to have these a little bit more diced cut. Alright, as you can see here, I have my cut celery and my cut onion, and now we can move on to cooking the chickpeas. Okay, it's time to cook the chickpeas now. So I just used a can opener to open these cans. Now some of them have the little pull tabs. So once you have them open, you're just going to pour them directly into the pan with the liquid. The liquid you do need in there, okay? So I'm going to pour both of these. And we're not adding anything else except for the chickpeas. And I'm going to set the heat to about a medium high, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that these chickpeas come to a boil, okay? And I would recommend, you know, stirring occasionally, because sometimes they do tend to get stuck to the bottom of the pan. So just make sure that you are stirring constantly, especially when the heat starts to rise. Okay, the chickpeas are starting to boil. You can tell by how foamy it gets here at the top. I would say you want to boil this for about 10 to 15 minutes. The goal that we're looking for here is to make sure that the chickpeas become really, really soft, because we're going to end up mashing them. And that's why we go through the boiling process first. If you pour them right into a bowl and start mashing them, they're really hard to break through. So this just softens them up. Egg salad, of course, is a cold dish, right? But these cool pretty fast after we'll drain them out. So the way I like to tell if once they're getting close is that you'll notice many of them will start to split in half. And you just want to make sure you get these as soft as possible. Okay, it's been 10 minutes and they're still boiling here. I'm about ready to move on to the next step. A couple other little quick notes. You'll notice that the garbanzo beans have this kind of transparent shell around them. That's okay if it's in there. You don't need to pick those out. We're gonna mash them, so it's not gonna matter. And then one other thing you can do is you can just bring one of the chickpeas to the side of the pot and press up against to see if they break. And right now I'm going to turn off the heat because they all look pretty soft. And now we're going to take this and get them strained. Alright, now that the chickpeas are done, it's now time to strain the chickpeas. So I just have this strainer. They don't need to be small slots. They can be regular because obviously the chickpeas are a little bit more round, they're a little bit more dense. So I'm just going to pour the chickpeas into the strainer. And I just then give them a little toss. We want all the liquid off the chickpeas because we want them to be dry. And then you'll just take the chickpeas and find a shallow bowl you might have. I just have this, this metal bowl. And then once they're strained and all the water is out of them, you're just going to then take the chickpeas while they're still hot and transfer them into a bowl. Here are my still hot chickpeas. You can see the steam coming off of them. And this is the time that you want to mash the chickpeas because they're at their softest point with them still being hot. Now I have this masher. I guess you could say it's a potato masher. You can use a fork. You don't need fancy equipment to do this. And now I'm just going to smash in all of the chickpeas until I have them soft, as like a scrambled egg would kind of resemble. Okay, now you can leave some of the chickpeas whole, that's fine, but I like to mash them all just so it mixes with all the other ingredients better. And then we'll see what that looks like here in just a moment. So now it's all mashed, and this is what I'm looking for. Okay, it's still kind of flaky, but everything is mashed in. There might be a couple pieces that haven't been smashed, but this is kind of what I'm looking for. It's almost kind of like a cookie dough in a sense. Okay, so still flaky, kind of breaks off. Alright, I have my chickpeas in this bowl, and now it's time to add all the ingredients. So I've already pre-measured 1/4 cup of mayo. It's a heaping cup of the vegan mayo, and I'm just going to pour that right onto the chickpeas. And now I'm going to mix this all in first, because this is the kind of general consistency I want the entire salad to be. So I'm going to get all that mix in there. Try to mix it to where it all looks the same and that there's no white from the mayo still showing. Okay, great. Now I have that all mixed in. So it's a little softer now, kind of what an egg salad sandwich, the consistency of what that would look like. All right, and now I'm going to add my two vegetables. So here is my onion and my celery. I'm just going to put that right into the bowl. And then I'll give this a good stir as well. And same thing, just make sure that everything's evenly distributed in the bowl. And see, the red onion really makes it look pretty. Instead of just having your yellow or white onions in there, it really makes it stand out. Okay. Now for the rest of the ingredients. Now, I've learned this the hard way. I've over salted this before. The mayo has a lot of sodium, so when it comes to salt, just a little bit. And when I say just a little bit, we're talking about like a little dash. Okay. Then you want to add your pepper, and I would say about a 1/4 teaspoon of each of these ingredients until one specific ingredient, and that's the colonomic, and I'll get into that in just a moment. So I have the pepper added. You have your garlic powder. And on this, like I said, 1/4 of a teaspoon, and I'm just making sure that I get everything covered there on the top. Onion powder, the exact same thing. Okay, and then for the herbs, once again, 1/4 teaspoon. That looks good to me. A little paprika. This can be a little less, maybe. Oh, and I meant to say 1/2 teaspoon on the other things. Maybe this could be like a 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then the turmeric, like I said, this is going to bring a lot of the color. So you can be pretty generous with this. It will take on a new taste if you add too much. So let's just say about the same with the other seasonings that I just did. And then the last is the colonomic. Okay, this is the stuff that makes it really taste like egg. Yeah, it smells like egg. And then you'll just want to put that in there. And this one I'm a little bit more generous with. So on this, I'll say probably about a tablespoon of that. All right, and that has kind of like a pink hue. So before I mix it all in, this is kind of what it looks like here. So it's kind of pinkish. You got the yellow from the turmeric, and then you'll just want to stir that in. With all the ingredients stirred in, it should start to look like this. Okay, so not too soft with the mayo. You can still scoop it onto like a sandwich or a cracker, or eat it just with a fork. All right, I have everything stirred in for my egg salad sandwich. Look how great that looks. Almost kind of looks like stuffing in a sense. But now to just try a little bit. And I like to kind of get a little bit of everything. And then here you go. Delicious. You get the crunch from the celery and the onion, the taste of egg from the colonomic. It's so good. Let's see if we can convert this into a sandwich. All right, so when you think of egg salad, you typically think of an egg salad sandwich, so we'll be doing just that. I have some sourdough bread here, and I'm just going to cut it right down the center because they're a little bigger pieces. Okay, and then I can just flip that on for one sandwich. We'll add some tomato. And then I have some iceberg lettuce that I'll be using. And if you want, you can add a little mayo as well. Now mayo is already in the sandwich, so you can just do like a little layer just to kind of keep it a little bit more creamy. Some lettuce. Put it right there on the sandwich, your tomato, and then you can scoop your delicious egg salad sandwich, or egg salad, onto the sandwich. Okay, so put a little bit right there, put as much as you want on there, have it. One egg salad sandwich. All right, now let's talk about storage. So I just have this little glass container here, and I'm gonna take everything from the mixing bowl I had, and I'm just gonna put that right into the glass bowl here. And then you'll just want to put that on here. And I would say no more than a week to consume this. I've actually gone a little past a week and it was still fine, but you know, for safety reasons, just make sure you're not eating anything that might be harmful to you over a certain time. But this is great because this will last for a very long time, and you can make a quick, easy lunch with this with just bread and some condiments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that notification bell and definitely subscribe so you are aware of all the other recipes and all the other things we're going to be doing in the future on this channel. Thank you once again. Have a great day.